So welcome on board on this review of our class, and I will discuss a little bit about my understanding about all the topics that you have brought to us to the class so that we can review these um, five topics of the thesis proposal that we intend to accomplish this semester. So I'll review all the five proposals that you have posted, and certainly I'm very happy to share one by one. And the first one is let's review from Pa Alex, and basically Pa Alex argued that the goal for his research is to better understand former exemplary school principals of Stardust schools. The reason why he intends to investigate this area of concern is because this is the intention of the foundation to create a more comprehensive understanding of a better school culture, especially given the fact that this school has 70 different schools with almost 25,000 students and teachers to serve. So, in about 1,200 teachers throughout the foundation. So, this is a huge school in Jakarta. And in order to better understand the better school culture that exists in the Stardust Foundation, so Alex seeks to understand what school principles are. So the methods will include narrative inquiries involving 4 to 5 former exemplary school principals, and the framework for his study is transformative learning theory, self-agency, teacher identity, cultural historical activity theory. So this is the um, first, and we are going to discuss more about what Pak Dikto intends to investigate. So let's take a look more deeply about his research plan. So Pak Dikto seems to focus on uh, revealing the existing school culture in SMP and SMA Kadis Jakarta, and show to better understand how quality assurance principles are utilized to develop Kadis schools of Jakarta. The reason for his study is there is a growing mismatch between internal traditions and external requirements such as accreditation and other structural constraints. And we cannot deny the fact that uh, these private schools, SM and SMR, seem to have some struggles when dealing with the existing bureaucracy. So the method of his study is qualitative method, and I would assume it's going to utilize case study. The theoretical conceptual framework will cover reframing of 4 frames. That's structural, human resource, political and symbolic perspective from Polman and Deal, and the last one is certainly cultural historical activity theory from Angus Thorne. So this is from Pak Dikto, and let's focus more on the next presentation. The next topics from Pak Widi. Pak Widi Prihartanto is now teaching at Gonzaga College, and he is interested in setting to grasp better or how better managed schools sustain the existence in contrast with those poorly managed schools do. So he is certainly interested in uh, knowing more, in understanding more how private schools become sustainable, especially given the a lot of competitions and especially from the um, state schools, public schools, who become less and less expensive. So he's interested to better understand the principles or strategies and techniques to maintain school sustainability. And underlying this uh, reality is that school sustainability represents a set of complex ideas and policies. So he's interested to better understand of this complexity. And I would assume that the method should be case study, document analysis like identifying and investigating rencana strategis, rencana pengembangan sekolah, or yearly or annual student teacher performances and annual school plans. And in particular, Pak Widi intends to compare and contrast four different schools, two from better managed schools and the other two from poorly managed schools. The temporary theoretical and conceptual framework is cultural historical activity theory. Well, I'm certainly open for further discussion about this, and we will see more deeply later. So let's move on to the two Magister Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris students. And here we go. We are going to discuss about what Mbak Nurul Noviana intends to investigate. What is it? So, Nurul Noviana has spent 19 years of her life in Pesantren Darul Ulum Jombang. This is the biggest pesantren in the city. So she intends to better understand the unique ways of Darul Ulum's systems to educate its santris and respond to highly complex challenges. And the reason why she intends to develop a study is that Darul Ulum is a unique for a couple of reasons. It is highly divided but united. It has eight representatives from three family members, and certainly it's been existing for 135 years, and it's by nature multi-pronged goals. Why it's considered to be multi-pronged? Because it has a very beautiful slogan, berotak London dan berhati Masjidil Haram. So it has covered the westernized ways of thinking. It is represented by SMA Darul Ulum 2, but it also houses the Middle East perspective, MAN 1 if I'm not mistaken. So we can imagine that this system has two opposing views, but they live happily ever after, seemingly anyway. And this is very interesting to see that they have a highly obedient culture, at least at the grassroots level. And the method, I would assume it's going to be the case study, with a lot of documents, analysis, observation, focus group discussions, and interviews. Related to theoretical or conceptual framework, and I would assume it's going to be utilizing CHAT, cultural historical activity theory, in order to portray the tensions, contradictions, complexities, conflicts, and contestations that exist there. And then certainly she will utilize the concept of reframing, that's from the perspective of structure, human resource, political and symbolic perspective. So certainly I'm anxious to better understand what her study is going to teach us later. So the last, but certainly not least, certainly, is from Pak Triwinanto, and he is a veteran teacher of English from De Brito College. So what does he really want to investigate? Well, Pak Triwinanto is set to elaborate on value clarification strategies among De Brito students. And he is interested in the formation of the attitude as a human beings in terms of academic, in terms of moral search, spiritual development, and social and interpersonal qualities, I would assume. And this is an interesting piece of research because De Brito has drawn a lot on a liberal ideology that is defined by believing that students are considered to be having the freedom because they are believed to have the capacity to think, to find out the good ways and understanding the good from the bad, so that the students have the capacity to pick the good ones for them. And at the same time, they also are obliged to be accountable, meaning to say that they have the capacity to be responsible to whatever they chose. So it's a good reason for the students to be encouraged to develop a high degree of self-conscious selves. And what about the method? The method, I would assume, is going to be a bit narrative or inquiry or phenomenology. And the theoretical framework or conceptual framework, I would assume it's a bit more temporary at the moment. It should be CHAT, cultural historical activity theory, and then followed by transformative learning theory, and in particular, it should be critical self-reflection on assumptions. Well, for those who happen to be a bit, if the concept of critical self-reflection on assumptions is still new, then we will discuss it further. But for the moment, I think this is a good progress for everyone to better understand the whole picture of the 5 topics of research to be done. Thank you.